Soon as you're set, you can open the meeting.
Call the meeting to order. This is the zoning board of adjustment of the city of Olivet. July 10th, 2025 at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Sorry. It is being recorded for the roll call.
Right, Chairman, just to make sure to press the speaker button. We do have one. No problem.
Okay, member Rob. Sure, yeah. Here. Yeah. Here. Missy Walden. Here. Brian Whitesack. Here. David Zobel. Here. Me, I'm here. Okay, we go ahead. I'll turn it over to you, Carlo.
All right. I'll also let the records note that we have our city council liaison, Kate Sean Hellman. Also, our planning and zoning administrator, Jack Carswell, along with our senior planner, Don Doty, who is online. And then myself, my name's Carlos Trejo. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development. Bear with me 1 second and I'll get the... We are recording this meeting and it's also being streamed and people can participate via streaming too. There's nobody currently on the streaming or online outside of staff members right now, but please note that everybody will have an opportunity to speak before the board. When you do speak before the board, we ask that you state your name and address. Ensure that mics are on, especially if you're online. Speakers during the public hearing session have to be sworn in, and we'll swear you in as soon as you come up to the mic here at the podium. And then we try to limit all public comments to 3 minutes in there. And if there's anything that you're restating or just reinforcing, just to note it in there. The previous speaker had mentioned it on there. The meeting process is that we're going to provide a staff overview. Then applicants present to the board, and then there's an opportunity for the public to comment about the presentations from staff and the applicants and the petition on hand. And then the board breaks into a discussion and then makes a motion. All motions have to be positive. So you're going to hear the motion to grant the variance requests that have been submitted. That does not necessarily mean it's granted. They have to vote. And since this is a board of zoning appeals by state statutes, of the 5 members here, 4, not a simple majority, 4 have to confirm or approve that vote in order for it to become into effect. Just again, a little bit format about the board. The chair will open the public hearing that for each petition. Staff presents, and then there's a opportunity for questions and answers with the board. Then the applicant will present. Then there's an opportunity for questions and answers with the board, and then the board can ask if there's any updates or comments from staff, and then they'll allow the audience to address the board. And then the board will close the hearing. We actually do call these hearings. And they'll start their deliberation up here on the dais. You'll be more than welcome to listen in. And then they'll motion for the variance request. And again, 4 of the 5 members have to vote to authorize the variance. Let me note about the zoning board of adjustment. The zoning board of adjustment through our municipal code and by state statutes has the jurisdiction to hear appeals to the interpretation of the code. So if somebody disagrees with Jack, Don, or myself regarding how we're interpreting the code, they can challenge that interpretation and go before the zoning board of appeals. Also to clarify specifics on a zoning map, every property in the city of Olivet has a designated zoning. Those zonings are illustrated in a map that we have available. You'll see them in the hallways here. They're also online, and where there's discrepancies or we can't tell, the board has jurisdiction to confirm or decide what that zoning should be. They also oversee if there's any public service facilities that are being built, and then they have the ability to authorize somebody to replace a use or a structure if it's destroyed by some act of God, nature, or so in there, in which it would have not been permitted if it was being built today in there. And then finally, what we call an area or use variance, and that's when someone's requesting relief from the code and rules and regulations of the municipal code that apply to all specific properties in there. And that's what you're probably going to see today. The 2 petitions are area variances. And in an area variance, the board must find that the property has a unique condition. It can't just be a typical ideal property and they just don't or can't comply with the code. That applying the city's standards from the municipal code will result in practical difficulties on the property. And it is up to the property owner to distinguish that it's not an inconvenience. So it's like, well, we would like to be right up to the street. They need to show what conditions of the property prohibit that, as opposed to we would just like to be up by the street. That any variance doesn't affect adjacent properties, that it still observes the overall spirit of the code itself, and that it would not impair light and air, increase congestion, increase public danger, diminish or impair property values, or impair public health, safety, comfort, morals, welfare of the city. So that kind of gives you just a broad overview regarding the role of this board and the process and how we're going to be going through. We got 2 petitions today. The first one is 733 Lantern Lane, and they'll get into the specifics of that as we go into that. And then the second petition is 1016 Dolores Avenue. So Chairman, if there's any questions, then we'll be set to proceed with your first.
I think just proceed.
All right. Mr. Carswell will be doing the presentation, but before swearing in, if I can get a volunteer from the board to read the hearing notice, just item AI, the 733 Lantern Lane, those first 3 paragraphs.
Is it on the board?
Yes.
I'd be happy to do it. So 733 Lantern Lane, the Board of Adjustment of the City of Olivet, Missouri will hold a public hearing on Thursday, July 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. The meeting will be conducted in person and virtually, with the agenda and link available at www.olivetmo.com. The meeting is regarding the following petition. Petitioners, John Metheny and Sarah Olson, property address 733 Lantern Lane. Property owner is Trent Silbaugh. And excuse me if I mispronounce anybody's name. Oh, good. And Chris Maria Mikova. I apologize. The zoning is SR Single Family Residential District. Appeal request is side yard setback variance. The petitioner seeks a variance of 6 feet from the side setback along the north property line to construct an addition to the existing garage. 13.7 feet from the south or from the side lot line. The required side yard setback for this lot is 19.7 feet. Code section 400.260, yard and setback requirements, subsection B, side yard setback. Lots greater than 60 feet in width, 12% of the lot width.
Okay, thank you. Staff?
And again, Chairman, as part of this process, anybody that speaks before the board, I do have to swear them in. The purpose of this is that it is a semi-judicial type of procedure. So if there was any questions or no, they're only going to be looking at information for those that were sworn in and to ensure that they were telling the truth. So, Mr. Carswell, do you swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, board. Tonight before you is 733 Lantern Lane. So some unique characteristics about the lot is that the lot is not typical with Olivet's requirements, or well, it is typical with the lot width and depth, but the orientation, as you can see on your dais in front of you, it has, a wonky shape, more outside of the regular rectangular lot that you see commonly within Olivet. There are unique features based on the plans and the data submitted by the owner. The lot is unique due to the shape, and it's also a dual street frontage lot. So it has 2 front yards, which this impacts the buildable area on the property. The petitioner is requesting a side yard setback variance along the northern property line to allow for the construction of a garage addition. The garage was already previously existing. However, they want to do a garage extension. They're not going any more closer to that property line than what was already existing. This garage that was there in place was built in 1987. That was before the setback code was adopted in 2005. So that 1987 garage at that time, the minimum or the side yard setback was set at 5 feet. So they were within that setback at the time. In 2005, that new code change happened, which results in the garage now, or, side yard setback being 11.97 feet. I'm sorry. So we're bringing this before you today because of that garage extension towards the northwestern side. That portion there, that corner is roughly about 25 square feet that they're doing, and they're not getting any more they are not exceeding the rear yard setback either. So they're staying within the rear yard setback, not encroaching any more closer to the side yard, but want to extend their garage a little more to the western side. Carlos, could you go to the next slide? So in front of you, there's also the streetscape and the aerial of the property. And then the next one has the setbacks. On this one, you can see where the on your dais, you can see that the blue line is the rear yard setback. The yellow is the side yard. The red or the orange is the two front building lines. And then the portion in the green square is the area that would be where the variance is requested for. You can just go to the next one. Yeah. So within the findings, obviously, it's a single family residential, legally known as Lot 38 of the Hillendale subdivision, legal lot of record. The existing home was built in 1955. Like I said, the garage addition was constructed in 1987. And then within 2005, Ordinance 2292 changed how the side yard setbacks were calculated. The current homeowners are the fifth owners of the home and have purchased and occupied the home since April of 2024.
Okay, any questions? No board?
No questions.
Yeah. So then just my apologies at the top, that should be, 733 Lantern Lane, not 1000 Llewellyn Lane. But in front of you are the 5 areas that we would look at for an area variance. If the property has a unique lot condition, if it's practical difficulty, how it affects the adjacent properties, if it's within the spirit and intent of the code, and then observing the criteria just based off of, the general community, welfare, health, public safety. And then the petitioner's here as well, if there's any questions regarding the property.
Any additional comments or questions from staff? Okay, we can move along then.
Thank you.
Chairman, next I'll call up the petitioner, Mr. Matheny. No problem. And Mr. Matheny, if I can get you sworn in first, sir. All right. Do you swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, sir. Just state your name and address for the board.
John Matheny, the architect and owner of Matheny Architects. I also did the house at 9501 Old Bottom Road. I was here for the architect review board on that one. Hopefully that one will be done soon. Yeah, my address is, sorry, what is it? 332 South Kirkwood Road, Kirkwood, Missouri. It's the old Kirkwood Theater building. That's where my office is. So yeah, to kind of reiterate, I did a number of overlays basically showing the same thing. And you can see the light orange portion is the existing garage that we're tearing down to the foundation and rebuilding so we can get more head height, obviously, because it's really low. You can barely I couldn't get my truck into that garage. So we're just trying to modernize and update the garage. But again, the entire addition that we're doing is paying great respect to the original house. It's basically an extension of the original house. I kept that design in mind, so I think it's gonna fit in real well with the lot that's there. But yeah, so the light orange portion is existing. It's the dark orange portion that we're asking to come out 5 more feet. To again, just to give a little extension to a little depth to that garage.
So the light orange at this juncture is existing space, but you're going to remodel that to give
Correct.
you more headroom.
Yeah, it has an existing footing, foundation that's going to remain in place.
And the newest piece is to the left, as I'm looking at it. from-
Correct. Dark orange would be new construction.
I have a question. So
Mm-hmm.
the garage space that's white, what's the height in there? Like, are we taking the height of the orange to what the white is?
Yeah, we're basically going to build taller walls, and then we're going to put the roof back. That's gonna match, adhere to the existing roof slope.
Yes, I'm assuming the white space is working. Like, there's no issue with the height or anything. So-
It's pretty low. Yeah, it's pretty low. And to be honest, structurally speaking, it's really cut up. There's been a number of, you can tell there's been a number of modifications to trusses, rafters over the years.
But you're not going to change that.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah, we are taking the roof off.
They're gonna
Oh,
demo that
okay.
entire garage.
Yeah,
The entire garage roof is being demoed.
But they-
correct.
But
Okay.
since
Gotcha.
was there before, they can,
Okay.
build on the same foundation.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, again, the structure of that roof is a little iffy right now.
Okay.
So in this picture right there, you're just gonna take that roof and what, move it up to roughly the height of the,
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
come up higher, adhere to that slope.
yeah,
Yeah, just come up a little bit higher
okay,
and then extend the entire length of the garage 5 feet to the west.
okay.
What is the portion to the left? That narrow strip? Like, all the way down?
This here,
Yeah.
that's new construction too. Yeah, yeah, basically from this line this way. We're extending the garage to the west 5 feet. So the entire garage will be 5 feet deeper than it
Is
is
that
now.
existing?
No, that would be new construction.
All of it, so it's not just the red portion, it's the whole,
The dark orange is what's in question, but this whole line
gotcha.
is is the extension.
But that's within the code.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
That's within the side yard
I
setback.
understand.
Mhm.
Trying to make sure.
Have you talked to the neighbor?
I've not,
Okay.
yeah, not directly.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask, sir,
Absolutely.
in memory of Greg Herkert, if anybody remembers when he was on this board, what is your true hardship with regard to what they're asking? What's the hardship? Because that's what we have to show.
The design problem we're trying to solve, and we're gonna solve, is that the new garage will get two, modern day cars into it.
And that's a hardship. How?
It's a hardship that they can't get you can't get a normal minivan in it now.
Well, isn't it the change of the side yard setback? The change of the side yard setback that's, causing, you to have to reduce the width so it wouldn't be a 2-car garage anymore if you built it to code?
Other than the existing that's there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part would,
Right, so you wouldn't be able to get 2 cars in there. If it was built to code.
meaning if that corner was removed.
Right.
I would say no, because we need the overall depth of that garage. Yeah. Yeah, because if you can recall, this house in that neighborhood was built many times and it started as a 1-car carport. So originally it had no walls, so it had a little more room to breathe and for bumpers to go wherever they needed to go and that sort of thing. Where now, of course, we have, a garage around it.
So if I could ask one more question, you're gonna put a frost wall on that new one if you get the permission to do this, correct?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that's been designed, structural engineer.
Isn't the
approved it
hardship
all.
created by the nature of the lot?
I'm sorry.
Isn't the hardship actually created because of the unique nature of the yard?
The unique nature of this code, I guess, yeah.
Or the
I mean,
shape
there's
your lot?
plenty of yard to the west of the house.
Yep. But your addition is going to be encroaching on the setback thing that is determined by the lot, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So what your hardship then is therefore the side of the lot or the nature of the lot?
Yeah, with the 19.7 feet
Gotcha.
setback, yeah.
I just want to make clear.
So we determine setbacks based upon the percentage, a percentage of the overall square footage of the lot. And they're getting penalized for this strip of land that they can't do anything with.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they would be in the right if we didn't have this extra strip of land here, because the whole lot size would be much smaller at that point. I don't know.
I think we should ask staff to clarify how they calculated.
That makes
That
sense.
side yard setback.
Staff?
So it's also, the lot is also unique just due to the condition of it having that 2 front yard, with it being the corner lot. So the way that we determine that is going to be based off of, the shortest front yard, is going to be opposite of that is going to be the rear. So if you're looking at this property, they're going to have a front yard on the east side, a front yard on the south side. The rear is going to be on the western side, and then the side yard is going to be the northern lot line. So that's going to be determined. And then the way that we do it is we take, 12% of what that lot depth would be, or the lot width, determining for different setbacks, whether it's rear or whether it's side. We have different percentages, but they will take that 12% of that to get that 19.7.
Could you point out which dimension you used to multiply against?
On the dais, Carlos did the calculations for the rear yard there, where he takes that 125
So
plus,
you averaged it.
yep, average those two.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you didn't take in the thin strip in measurables at all? Okay,
No.
okay. And it still came out to 12%, okay.
Any other questions?
So just recognizing that the 2 additions, well, the 1 addition off the back side, and then the tear down of the original garage and the rebuilding of a new garage, that those are choices. And obviously, when you do an addition or significant construction like this, you have to make choices. Did you look at other locations for the garage?
No, we did not. No, because my recommendation to do this was based on structural concerns of the existing structure that's there now. It's pretty dangerous, to be honest. So that was the decision to do it the way we're doing it.
But you're tearing it down, you're tearing down the dangerous structure.
Correct. Yeah. Which lies in the rafters that have been all cut up through the years. Yeah, so I think safety wise, we're doing the right thing.
I guess the question for me is, if you are tearing down the existing garage, then on the site where the existing garage was, could theoretically be anything. And the garage could potentially locate to a different spot as well. Like the garage doesn't have to go where the current garage is. Certainly it's easier, but it doesn't have to go there. So that's why I was asking if you looked at other options that could keep you within the setback requirements for the garage and the addition.
No, basically because, the architecture, it relates to the kitchen. Everybody's garage steps into some type of a mud room and has adjacency to the kitchen. You don't get out of your garage and step into your living room. So because of that is where we're keeping it. I mean, it was called for, cost is most efficient to use what's there and, improve upon it. And it still keeps the relationship with the kitchen in the backyard as it is now.
Carlos, can you pull up the drawing that has the setbacks? Yeah.
And this is not impacting any other neighbor at this point in time with this design, correct?
Correct.
I mean, just looking at the plan, there doesn't seem to be a practical place for the garage. And I think it does keep with the nature of the existing house.
Yeah, if you can see on the south side of the house, the 40-foot building line. I mean, theoretically, a garage could fit on within that triangle, but it's going right into the living room of the house and is totally separated from the kitchen. So practicality wise of, groceries and all the things we do from the garage to the kitchen won't be met.
Is there any way to get back to the photographs and kind of keep this up as well? I don't know if that's possible. I've never asked such a question before.
Like a split screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, cool, okay, all right.
Oh, like-
Okay, so this is the aerial. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so, I don't see you impacting or becoming an inconvenience to the neighbor in this process. I think a way of describing what your hardship is what I want to hear and be comfortable with,
Mhm.
because that's the law and that's what we're supposed to be looking at. And right now I can see that it's not impacting somebody else.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, the house to the north, next door neighbor, that's their pool. They have a pool, then there's a utility easement there, and then the garage. So there's a nice buffer between their privacy and my client's privacy.
And you're really not moving any further north,
Correct.
to that property.
Yeah, not an inch.
Have the neighbors been alerted, staff? They have. Any objections from the neighbors?
It's going to be a very tasteful addition and improvement to this neighborhood.
what is the materials of this house? Is it paneling? Is it brick? What?
It's going to be a combination of brick and cementitious board,
Uh-huh,
which we call hardy board.
uh-huh,
I think most people can relate to that.
I,
It is a cement product.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
very
And-
durable.
And you'll have brick up on the side, that's coming to the PCDC, but okay.
Yeah, and then we're going to match the brick of the house to, again, keep it respect the original design and just add to it. Yeah, the scale, the proportions, it's gonna, nothing's going higher. Things are just kind of going out in different directions.
Any other questions from the board members or the staff? Go ahead.
I'd also say that the garage is probably in the ideal location just because if they're going to use the location where the driveway is, it works out pretty well
Oh,
to keep the existing driveway and then work on the garage in that
Yeah.
location instead of having to redesign the driveway.
Understand. Good point. Thanks. Any other comments from the board? Any questions at all? What is our motion? We need a motion.
Chairman, we still,
I'm sorry, public comments.
Yeah.
Any public comments? Hearing none? We'll move along.
Do we have anybody online?
Chairman, if the owner is here, I think that you should address the board and again, you have the closer relationship with other neighbors, or if you've talked to anybody adjacent to the property.
Hello, thank you for hearing from me. My name is Trent Silva. I'm the property owner at 733 Lantern Lane.
Getting sworn in.
Mr. Silva, yeah, I forgot about this. Sorry. 1 second. All right. Do you swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so kind of building off of what John talked to you about. So The main reason for redesigning the garage is that I have to duck to walk in, and I've hit my head on the garage door opener metal corner at least 4 or 5 times. It hurts. um, and and currently neither of our vehicles really fit in the existing garage. And so that's the main reason for wanting to rebuild that. And kind of reiterating our reasoning for locating it in the existing footprint is that the existing driveway is in excellent condition. It looks like it was rebuilt fairly recently. I don't know the exact year, but no cracks. It looks brand new. And proximity to the kitchen. So as you can kind of see, there's a little stairwell down, which is currently open air. So the garage is attached but detached. You have to walk outside. And so we wanted to put in a mud room and build that so you can enter into the kitchen. So to kind of keep that flow. And so that's sort of our reasoning of designing it that way. But we want to keep it looking as close to the existing structure as possible while still raising that height a little bit. So you'll notice to keep the roof line slope, we worked with John to design the slope to kind of keep the same slope as it has. And there's a flat section off the back that allows us to get that extension without having to alter the roof line. So really trying to keep everything looking in keeping with the design. It's really why we liked the house, was we really loved the design of the house, and we want to try to keep it as close to it is as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the owner?
No.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to motion to grant a side yard setback variance of no more than 6 feet along the north property line for a garage extension as illustrated in the plans dated May 27th, March 27th, thank you, 27th, 2025, and May 23rd, 2025.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, before going into a vote, I think there should be some discussion on for each member.
Oh, yeah. What did I forget? I'll start since I made the motion. I do think the property is unique with the two, front yards that they have. It's an irregular shape. I think the practical difficulty is a little bit more challenging, but I do think the fact that the garage is not up to code, not code, but it's not up to standards right now. That really makes it usable. And I do think they're trying to maintain the spirit of the existing building and the actual size and appearance from the streets and things like that, that if they're trying to keep with that style and standard, that corner part is what's making it difficult to do, and I think any other change like this would really be a big drastic change for the style of the house. And I don't see any problems with the adjacent properties. I think they're following the spirit of the code, especially since they're not moving further north. And I think they are satisfying the spirit of the side yard setbacks.
Board Member Walden, do you have any?
I concurred. I feel that they're not impacting the adjacent properties. It clearly is in the spirit of the code. Yes, back in 2005, we had the 5 foot and the measurables have changed. The practical difficulty of, being able to do an improvement. That driveway alone, if you had to tear that out, I'm sure that's at least $8,000 to $10,000, although I never say money's the issue for me. But in the spirit of the code, it doesn't impact adjacent properties. There is a bit of practical difficulty. It would be a wonderful improvement for that property that you just, thank you, in 2024 moved into our community, and you are now wanting to invest in our community. So I'm in agreement that, there is good reason to provide approval of a variance.
Thank you. Board Member Zobel?
I'm just gonna say ditto. I mean, you've said it's the same thing. It was impactful that this wall is already there and they're going additional 5 feet. You can't go forward, you can't go backwards without violating the side yard setback. So I don't really see how this garage can be anywhere else.
Board Member Weinstock?
Thank you, Chairman. Just real quick, I'd say that to me, there's no impairment of adequate supply of light or air. It doesn't seem to be unreasonably increasing the congestion of the streets. It doesn't seem to be increasing public danger, fire, or safety. It doesn't diminish property values. I think it's actually going to enhance property values. And I don't see it impairing the public health, safety, comfort, morals, or welfare of the city of Olivet.
My only other input would be to just ditto. I agree with all your comments at this point. Are we ready for a vote? Should I
Do we
read the
call
roll
for
or-
the vote like we do on council or no?
Yes.
Okay, call for the vote.
Board Member Zobel?
It's in the affirmative, correct?
Yes.
Approve.
Board Member Weinstock?
Approve.
Board Member Waldman?
Yes, approved.
Board Member Jurgel?
Approved.
And Chairman Cicero?
Approved.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously. So the next phase in this petition would be that the petitioner will now be engaging with the city's Planning and Community Design Commission, which is another opportunity for public comment that there are some concerns regarding overall design or architecture on that building. That meeting would be set probably the second Thursday in August. No, the third Thursday in August at the earliest. Right.
Okay. We can move on to the next. We have to swear you in again.
Yeah, do I have to get sworn in each item?
No,
Okay.
no, but the hearing notice does have to get read.
Understood.
Oh, I'll read the hearing notice. Yeah. Yeah. 1016 Dolores Avenue, the Board of Adjustment of the City of Olivet, Missouri will hold a public hearing on Thursday, July 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. The meeting will be conducted in person and virtually with the agenda and link available at www.olivetmo.com. The meeting is regarding the following petition. Petitioners, Jason and Denise Kustas. All right, thank you. A property address is 1016 Dolores Avenue. Property owners, the same as the petitioner. Zoning is SR Single Family Residential District. The appeal request is a side yard setback variance. The petitioner seeks a variance of 9.97 feet from the side yard setback along the north property line to construct a second-story addition to the existing home, 2 feet from the side lot line. The required side yard setback for this lot is 11.97 feet. Code section is section 400.260 yard and setback requirements, subsection B, side yard setbacks. Lots greater than 60 feet in width shall be 12% of the lot width.
Okay, thank you. Staff.
Okay, before you tonight is 1016 Dolores Avenue. The petitioner is requesting to add a second floor to the existing home. The existing home is about 2 feet from the northern side setback or side yard setback line, well, side property line. The code requires an 11.97 foot side yard setback from that northern property line. However, Carlos can show on the next slide that this lot does have some unique characteristics that are different from a typical lot. It is not a rectangular or a square lot, and it is wider along the front setback as opposed to the rear setback. Thus, a wider setback is required. There is also a creek that runs diagonally along the south setback, which is protected via a stream buffer of that 25 feet stream buffer. The owner has met with staff several times to discuss options to expand that current residence due to the stream along the southern boundaries. There were limitations in the south of the buildable area. Other options were discussed with staff to limit the upper addition, adding the addition to at the midpoint of the roof, but due to these limitations, they've come up with this design, and the final design option of raising the existing home and building a new one was discussed but not preferred. In 2022, the owner, at the urging of staff, widened the existing property along the street side of Dolores by trading property with a developer south of the creek. So that lot B, they traded that some of that property. While trading that property, it was in the city's best interest, and it increased the side yard setback along the northern property line from 5 feet to 11.97 now. The property used to be 50 feet wide, thus it only had to have a 5-foot setback. But then the adjacent property owner used to have the full creek on their property, and when the property to the south was subdivided, it made sense to exchange the property grounds north of the creek to 1016 Dolores. So the petitioner agreed, and by doing so, their width along the street has increased from 50 feet to 99.7 feet, which is now where we get that 11.97 setback. Given that stream along the property too, that causes that 25-foot buffer setback. So ideally, like a lot of their buildable area is kind of taken up by this creek and these other additional easements. So you can see that this is the design. They want to bring that house to a second level. They're not going any closer than what was already there as well. However, they're just adding a second story addition to get that extra space, because when looking at the property and talking with staff, there were really few options of how to expand their home, and they would like to stay, you know, in the existing home on their lot. Other information is just, you know, general information in terms of that it's SR, single family residential. It's part of the Olivet Terrace block. But through lots 11 through 15, the subdivision, it's a legal lot of record. It's not conforming just due to the city's lot minimums. The existing home was built in 1926, and the current owners purchased the home back in March of 2020. And then in March of 2022, the ordinance 2742 adopted the boundary adjustment, which increasing the lot width from 50 to 99.7 feet, which thus increases the width of that required side yard setback. And then as well as the stream information that exists on the south side of the property grounds protected by that 25-foot stream buffer. Carlos and I, staff, can answer any questions as well as the petitioner is present.
Thank you. Any questions?
If they didn't take the property on the other side of the creek when the last subdivision happened or whatever, would they be fine with this addition?
No, no, the minimum would have been 10% of the lot width as opposed to 12%. And the lot would have been 50 feet wide, so it would have been a 5-foot setback.
But they're already 4 feet, correct?
Correct. Well, it's 2
4
feet
feet.
to the property line.
4 feet to the next house.
Each house is 2 feet from each other. The request of the variance would have been a lot smaller.
Because it would have been 2 feet from 4 feet versus 2 feet from the larger.
It would have been,
Yeah,
yeah, the request, if the trade did not take place, the request would have been for, the required setback, I apologize, would have been 5 feet, which there are 2 feet from the property line. So it would have been a 3-foot variance request as opposed to what you have, okay.
Carlos,
It
when the
is-
original house was built in 1926. What was the side yard setback?
That I.
We were not a corporation yet, so.
Most of us weren't even alive. Any other questions or comments? Staff, okay, let's move along with the visitors. Again, state your name and address. Get sworn in.
Do I gotta be sworn in first?
Yes, you do.
You can lower
Oh.
the mic.
Okay.
Do you swear that evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Denise Custos. I don't have any big boards for you, sorry, but so obviously this lot is
you know, it's kind of a weird angle. And when we first bought the house, you know, it's a cute little house, and I like the old character of the houses. And but you know, we thought, okay, we would like to expand it. And so originally, to answer your question about we acquired the side lot because I thought that we would be able to knock the house down or move it over or add to it to the side so we can make it bigger. But we weren't aware until we had the survey done that there's also MSD sewer line running across it. So we can't build on top of that. So by us acquiring the additional space, it didn't matter because we can't build above that that sewer easement right there. So, you know, we did look at other options, like, you know, what if we knock it down and rebuild? But because there's the front setback and the back setback and the side setbacks and the creek setbacks, they're all super close. Even if we tore it down, we couldn't really shift it to meet the side code. So, you know, our thought was, well, the only thing that we could do is maybe go up and leave the existing foundation and just move it up. The part of the reason also is the front porch. I mean, the house is 1926, but the front porch was built right above the basement, and there's no barrier in between. So every time it rains, water comes in on that basement. And so the architect, you know, that we talked to advised it's better to enclose the porch, make it part of the living space, and then go up so you can, you know, we can get a bigger house and have more square footage. But that was really the only way that we saw we could do it, is to build up versus moving. We can't really move anywhere else. And then, yeah, as they showed, I mean, the neighbor is pretty close, but it's 4 feet from their carport, not their house. We've talked to our neighbors before. They're currently renting the property out. So I haven't really talked to the main owners because there's a language barrier, but I've spoken to their son, and, you know, I advise them that, you know, we were looking into this and they haven't seemed to have any concerns with us doing this, but I don't know.
Did somebody directly contact them?
So mailings and notifications for the public hearing were sent out 15 days, you know, for it to be in the county and everything. We've gotten no concerns back from any of the neighbors, and all the properties within 300 feet were notified.
Any questions for the owner?
Could I ask a question? 2 houses that are to your left are new, right?
There's 3 of them.
And then there's a third house after that one.
Yes.
That is new. And then the house that is to your opposite side, was that a new or an addition on that home?
No, that one's been there since, well, I don't know how long it's been
Okay.
there, but it's
Okay.
been there since we
Okay.
bought ours.
Okay. And you are trying to provide yourself more space, more livable space. You've invested in this community, and given the fact that you've also cooperated with regard to that creek, you know, thank you very much. That was a good thing. What do you feel? I mean, I kind of heard you,
Yeah.
but how do you feel that's a hardship to you?
Well, I think the hardship is obviously that I feel like it's an old house, right? So it was built different times, different codes. And so they didn't have those setbacks, you know, where you can't build too close to your neighbors. And so I think that is the main setback, is the hardship is the way the property is laid out with a wider lot in the front versus the back. And so it doesn't give us any options of where we could do with the house. And then the creek setback is the other hardship, because I can't move the creek, right? I can't control the creek, and there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, it's fenced up, but you know, there's still that setback.
And the sewer easement is also.
Yes. Oh, and the MSD, yes. And I will tell you that I also contacted MSD to see if there was a way what their process is to see if we can build over that easement. And I spoke to the engineer and he said it's probably not likely. We'd have to go to their variance board to get it approved, but more than likely they won't allow it.
Yeah, so your hardships are the creek and MS Day along with
Yes.
1920. Okay.
Yes. But we love the neighborhood. We love the schools. My kids love the school district, so, if we can improve upon it and make it nicer and, obviously by doing a second floor addition, we would probably have to remove all of the siding to make it all consistent and make it, look nice for the neighborhood. But, yeah.
Any questions from the board? For the owner or for the owner?
It's just a weird lot, so,
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Carlos, do you know for the house that's to the north of them, would that be a 50-foot lot with a 5-foot setback theoretically? I mean, clearly they're not.
Correct. To the best of my knowledge, the properties north of this are 50 feet wide each. And the reason I would say that is we had one at our last plan commission meeting, 3 lots to the north, as there's been some recent tear downs in this neighborhood. That lot was also 50 feet wide.
So I guess my question is more kind of thinking into the future, with that particular house to the north, should they, if they were to keep their house on that, that same plane, like the same location where the edge of the carport is, just thinking into the future that it's very common in, in Olivet for the tear down rebuilds or just enlarging homes. From a planning perspective, what are the difficulties that or the safety issues that we might not be aware of in having 2 houses so close together?
Is that okay?
Yes.
Good question. There would be 2 components. One, I'll go first, not my specialty, but through the building code, when the proximity of structures is less than 10 feet, there are standards that are required for the exterior of those walls to meet, to enhance the fire rating of the 2. That's one of the important things. I do want to note that as that, even though this is more about zoning and planning in there. On the second aspect of it, more from a planner's perspective and all that, yeah, it is a concern, and that's why the setbacks are set as 5 feet. But an ordinance doesn't always work. It's not perfect to every shoebox that comes across, and it would be a concern in there. Now, this is a neighborhood in transition. I think back in my professional belief, in 2004, we missed an opportunity to have this as part of a commercial redevelopment that took place next door. And what that did is that it left the city with a multitude of these 50-foot wide lots, most of them being non-conforming, several of these being pretty close. And we've seen this neighborhood transition. There are now a lot of kids. We saw that during a recent petition event for commercial property just to the north. And there, so we're starting to see some reinvestment, and that reinvestment is kind of fragile because you're seeing some tear downs. There's a $1 million home within this neighborhood in there, but then we were introduced to several residents in there that found this area very affordable and like the area. It's community oriented and the school district in there. So it's a tough one. We looked at multiple ways to try to look at this addition, there was some opportunities to go forward. But what that would do is it would break the streetscape a bit. And to me, that I think as a planner was a little bit more important in terms of what you see in between the properties. I think it'll be important in terms of how that side elevation will look, even though that's not a role of the board. But I think they took that opportunity to make sure that those windows weren't oversized along there. So if this house ever came in for the same petition or appeal, which they could say, hey, we just want to go up, you know, the roof's already there, we just want to go up, and they have that possibility, is to make sure that, you know, that those two walls are reasonable, not
Is
the
that
ideal
relevant for
situation.
discussion?
Pardon?
Is that really relevant for our discussion?
I think it does impact what could happen. I mean, you know, there, you know, while there's other attributes on the south of this property that are unique, the lot next door is a 50-foot wide lot too, in there, and, you know, any justification could be used, though this doesn't serve as a precedence, but they could use the same information that was provided, or was that discussed or looked into in the minutes and all that. And I think it's a good point in there, and you know, there's no ideal situation. However, the footprints are there already. I think, you know, the key here is, and it's not on the board's purview, but looking at the design to make sure that those two, if something like that were to happen, those two could still be compatible. Is it ideal? I mean, would you want to walk in between a 4-foot gap with, you know, 20, you know, at least 16 feet at a minimum of height in there? But that isn't, you know, this is one of our more urban neighborhoods, and that it's kind of the character that kind of gives. I don't think it would alter the character of the neighborhood significantly, but it wouldn't be the same either. And I know I'm kind of, you know, wavering on that, but I think the way this street is set up, I don't think it would call out between the you know, the 4-foot gap between these two new homes that have, you know, the you know, 10-foot gaps respectively. But given that they're mass, it looks like they're narrowed in in there. Yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough lot, and I don't mean to advocate for the petitioner, but we looked at all various ways of what could be done. And for me, it's easy. It's not my money, you know, and told them of all these things that they could look at to do, and then waited to see what design they decided to come back with.
Isn't that just really pointing out the uniqueness of this particular lot?
There wasn't many wishful opportunities I could forward to them to take advantage of.
That's what I meant by relevancy earlier. I don't think there's an option here. The houses are what they are.
But then again, that is a policy that the council's created, and it may be a situation that they're looking at that, hey, you're not going to build your addition, so you're going to go look for another house, so I can consolidate this lot and then build a bigger house, you know, in there. And again, sometimes those are, you know, back in 2000, the city's policy was to have these lots consolidate.
Yeah.
Before it backed off and changed that policy to recognize and acknowledge lots that were 50 feet or greater.
Right.
One other challenge with the houses being so close is, while it's under construction, is
Totally.
probably gonna need permission from the other neighbors to put ladders up against, you know, to put the siding up,
Right.
you know, things like that. So makes good neighbors if
Yeah.
everybody works together.
Like I said, I mean, we've discussed it with their son, and he said he spoke to their parents. I don't, they don't really speak English well, but so I don't know, but he told me that the son told me that, you know, his parents are fine with, I mean, they don't live there. It doesn't bother them because you know, we've talked about the side, and I didn't, you know, install a French drain to kind of just to get all the water issues that the property also has. And so, you know, they were okay with me doing that. You know, the other thing is, I know that the street is a little narrow, but being that now we own all the other side next to the creek, we have enough space so the dumpsters can go in there. And so nothing's going to be blocking the street or anything like that. It would just be, like you said, the inconvenience of letting our neighbors know, hey, we're going to be working on this side.
Any other questions for the owner? Any questions? Obviously, there's no further comment from the staff.
I do believe someone on the board asked a question about the property, not directly to the north, but right, the one after that. That one is actually going to be, was before the commission. That was 1022 Dolores. So that is going to be a tear down new build. So just to answer that question, there's a new home going there now.
Were there any other comments online?
No, sir. Ms. Doty? No, sir.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
I think we close it and have discussion like we did before.
Well, let's close the meeting then and we'll discuss it. You're free to stay.
I'd be glad to start off. I think if there's any property that really shows unique issues, practical difficulties, and meeting the spirit of the code and, you know, complying with us, I think this is one that definitely I think it's easy to address each item that we need to be thinking about. So I could go through it each one individually, but I
No.
think we've done that already. So
Any comments from board member Waldman?
Can I say 1920? You know, I don't think there's too many homes. I know I've walked a lot and I'm sure Councilmember Pashon has too. You know, at this point, I do not know of many homes that are like University City, you know, where you have only that 5 foot and a little bit of a sidewalk in between each home. I think that is a rarity. And I'm gonna say that is unique, okay? Also, the practical difficulties I see are that you worked well with regard to the creek that's there that helped alleviate something else for a better outcome for the city and for your area. And the fact that there's an MSD sewer there, and if we can't get what we've needed for 20 years down on Donnie Lane, I know you're not gonna get what you need, you know, where you're at on Dolores. So you know, I believe you're attempting to deal with the spirit of the code by just building up. The design and where the windows will go, that'll be the PCDC. You are really attempting the spirit of the code and trying to be a good steward of the property that you've purchased and that you've invested in. So, you know, I can see that there is a hardship here for this situation.
Woman,
Yeah, those setback lines, you see how they pin that house in. It's just, I don't know what else you can go. The only bother I have is just, you know, having two houses right next to each other and you know, but I don't think that it would impair the light supply and some of the other considerations here. So, I'm satisfied with this.
board member Weinstock?
I was gonna say what Board Member Zobel said, so I don't have anything to say.
Yeah. Sure, I don't have anything further to add either. Can we have a motion?
be glad to make a motion. I'll make a motion to grant a side yard setback variance of no more than 9.97 feet along the north property line for a second level addition to the existing home as illustrated in the plans dated April 24th, 2025.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Call the roll.
Chairman, on the motion made by Commissioner, excuse me, Board Member Jurgel, seconded by Board Member Zobel. Board Member Weinstock,
Affirmative.
Board Member Waldman,
Affirmative.
Board Member Zobel,
Affirmative.
Board Member Jurgel,
Affirmative.
and Chairman Cicero.
Affirmative.
The motion does pass unanimously, therefore the variance has been granted. The next step in this process is to proceed through the city's Planning and Community Design Commission. Again, that would, the earliest meeting that could be set up would be the third Thursday in August. And we'll coordinate with you for that.
Okay. Guess, do we need a motion for adjournment?
Do we have anything else on our agenda?
Typically for the board, because I don't have anything else, but after you adjourn, if there's any questions, and
Yeah.
we'll keep it up. And I'll be glad to answer.
So moved.
All right. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
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 Right.
Passes unanimous. Close the meeting. Yeah, we'd like to hear any updates you've got.
Sure, we'll, let's see. We'll note, of course, April elections, we had quite a bit of changes in the council. And there we have 3 council members that are been either appointed or elected for 2025. Mike Samalanov, I apologize if I got the last name, Ms. Pecan Hellman, and then Brian Lewis are our new council members. And of course, the Missy Waldman, who had been a council member for 25 years, decided not to run in there, and that changed. Current mayor is Sydney Clark, who's been a council member, I think, 2 terms or so, and then Maxine Weil, who's also been a council member for at least 3 terms in there. Regarding development activity, of course, you see the construction up there at I-170. That is what we call Lot 3 of the Olive Crossing development. That is going to have 2 eating establishments, one called Panera, excuse me, the Paris Baguette, which is kind of like a Panera, and then the Brass Tap, which is kind of like a Buffalo Wild Wings establishment. And then they'll have 3 interior tenants. I believe Tropical Smoothie and Verizon are 2 of the 3. I think the third is still open. And there, if you go across the street from there behind Chevy's, you'll see the 205 unit Irvington Place apartments under construction. They're moving pretty briskly. We anticipate that they will be ready for occupancies probably that late winter, early 2026. And there. Across the street here, they're building the 35 townhouses in there. We've been meeting with the developer on a weekly basis now, trying to get things moving along. But there's a lot of complexities and utilities and things that take long to come into place. But we should start seeing some framing. Keep saying in another 2 weeks, in another 2 weeks. But I think they're about there, and he's already had several units sold, which is a good positive. So I think he's committed. Well, I don't want to say he wasn't, but committed to moving briskly on that project now. And there, we have a couple of vacancies that we're working on. Some businesses that had left. One was Enterprise Fleet Management that vacated 9315 Olive Boulevard, which is kind of tucked behind that CVS corner, and I think it's called Intellica or Intelligrated in there. That space, it's one of it is the largest private property that we have in all of that, is now being occupied by a subsidiary of Emerson. So they're moving about 250 people from their Ferguson campus over to here. So that's a good one for us. It's a good user in there. But right adjacent to that on Olive is a former U.S. Bank call center that goes all the way back to Mark Twain Bank. And that property is now vacant, and the bank is entertaining proposals for that site in there. And that's a big site, and it's on Olive, so it's an important site in there. We met today with the owners of ABC Trading. They've been at the corner of Olivet Executive and Olive for I think she said 1993 or so, and she's going to be retiring and has had the property up for sale for at least the past 3 to 4 years. But finally, they're looking to slowly go through selling their items within the next 2 months. And I think she said her goal is to be out of there by November 1st. And she is entertaining different offers for the reuse of the property grounds. Further down, Jack's been working with a restaurant interest right there where the retail space is for Easy Storage on that base next to the ice cream shop. I think it would be a really good complement between the two in there. Party City, of course, they had declared bankruptcy and then closed down the facility here. We've been talking with the brokers and the property managers on that. They do have somebody of interest, but they've been talking since April and still waiting for them to submit something. But it would be a good retailer and something that would be great for the city if it proceeds And they're in the last I checked up with them was a couple of weeks ago, they were still negotiating on their contract. In there. And then the Enchanted Bride, sad story. I think they've been there for quite some time. I started in 2002, and I know they were in operations in there, but the owner also is retiring. And that's a really tough site. It's a tough site. It's really slender. And then the building's kind of been added on in pieces, and it's not in that great a shape anymore. But they'll be closing that. Well, the facility is already closed in there. And then tomorrow I'll be talking with somebody that has interest in trying to redevelop that site ground too. So I hope that goes well. In there. It was a laundromat? Mhm.
That building was originally a laundromat.
Was it?
Yes, yes, yes.
So-
Yeah.
So I think that kind of covers the major developments along the corridor. If I missed something, let me know. In there, the council just adopted its next fiscal year budget. In there, and the challenges that the city's faces, similar to what the state has been talking about, is a drop in revenues, specifically sales tax. In that, and while you saw your property tax bills go up, that doesn't necessarily mean that what you're paying goes up in there because of the Hancock rule. It's limited to the rate of inflation. All of that gets that 13% of your property tax bill in there. So retail sales tax is important, but it's not our sole source of revenue. So,
Okay, thank you.
yes,
Helpful. Any others?
pardon?
If I could bring something to your attention, Carlos, Jack, and Councilmember Pashan. The guys doing the apartment complexes off of Price. They're blocking the road, they're blocking the sidewalks, they're not placing their vehicles where they should be. It's impacting people's ability to walk around in that community. It's impacting the ability for vehicles to get around. And, you know,
We'll take a look at that inquiry was brought up, and we did some investigation. At no point has the police or fire found that access on those roads has been inaccessible. So that is not set. Now, Spire has been doing some excavations in there, and state utilities are really hard to kind of regulate, but when they are out, they do have a person in there. So we're cognizant of that. And then we had a conversation because we know that the school and buses are coming thing. The issue regarding the sidewalk, and only we know this because Public Works is right next door. Last week, they had to excavate the entrance in there. So it's been 1 week that sidewalk has had to be closed in there. Now, there may have been vehicles unauthorized that have blocked some of that sidewalk, and we will follow up on those. But the sidewalk itself in coordination with the GRG, we need to get the apron and the GRG trail to cross there, but that was interrupted last week. So I've instructed them to close the sidewalk at CVS and alert people that they need to go either to Dillman Industrial or Hilltop, which is very common in the construction practice. In there, we did that with Olive Crossing, Firestone, and then our neighbors did it several times down here with their development in U City. The other thing on that is that so we want to get that sidewalk, and then just to note, there never have been sidewalks on Alice. So you know the intent of if you were using the street for well, the street would be the only means of pedestrian movement along there. In there, but we are fortunate. Our Public Works is right there, and they oversee all that construction in there. But we did have a meeting to talk and make sure that they're aware in there, and what we're hearing from our residents, and them to be a little bit more courteous about that. But in terms of violations of blocking the street or anything that impacted safety, we were not able to find something. So,
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, I guess we're adjourned.
Thank you.